PC WizKid here with an AMD 2013 gaming PC build. These are components that I've previously reviewed. We're putting it all together in this awesome step-by-step installation. We're going to prepare the case here, the Cooler Master Scout 2, an advanced edition in all white. And of course I've got the faceplate here of the motherboard that I'm installing. I always like to put that in first so I don't forget. Of course, face the faceplate the right way, so you've got the audio on one side and you've got your motherboard, keyboard plugs on the other, and then of course fasten it to the back of the case. It just clips on as such. Okay, so once you get that out of the way, now you're prepared to think about what are you going to do next. So you can install the power supply next if you want. I like to do that so I can do my cable management afterwards. Now, looking at the power supply here, the fan is facing the bottom, so it's going to take the air in from the bottom of the case to keep it cool. Some cases, it doesn't really matter. You can have it facing upwards, but I like to have it taking the cold air in. And the modular cables will be plugged in, as you can see there. On the top of the case, I'm going to install an NZXT fan, as you can see here. So that'll give additional cooling that this case did not come with a fan at the top, so I'm adding that myself. As you can see, I put it in there at the top. It's optional. I can put two of them if I had two. I only have one. It's going to take the cool air out, or the hot air out, I should say, from the case. I got two fans, one at the back and now one at the top, to push the hot air that accumulates inside that case out of there. Now, cable management. Now that I've got the power supply in there, I can kind of plan how I want my cables to go through. I can start plugging them in. I can have cables routed underneath the motherboard tray. I can have it prepared basically, so that when I do fasten things, and by the way, there's different ways of fastening the cables. I have Velcro straps here, but obviously I've seen people use these metal twist ties, which I definitely do not recommend, so stay away from that. And there's the plastic ones, of course, which work great. Just clip them through there and just tighten it. So these ones usually come with most power supplies, motherboards. So occasionally you get these types of clips that have like a adhesive sticky underneath, and you can just attach that to your case and then route cables through there. That's another option. And of course you've got this plastic version of the strap, which also works quite well. Okay, so you've got different choices, different versions. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the CPU. I've got here the motherboard, that Gigabyte 990FX, which we're going to take a look here how well it performs with the CPU. Now I've gone ahead and taken out these brackets that come on the motherboard. Depending on the CPU cooler that you're using, you might have to take those out. I've got the FX AMD 6350, which I'm installing right there. Okay, make sure that you have the processor oriented in the right way with the little notch and the triangle facing the right corner. Nice and snug in there. Clip it back into place, and now we're on to the next step. Like I said, the CPU cooler that I have requires me to take out these plates and install different ones, different brackets, and once I've gone ahead and done that, now I can install the CPU cooler, which is going to look kind of like this. Okay? Now you can install the memory modules now if you want. If your CPU cooler allows you to do that later, then you can do it later. Here I've got some thermal grease. Just going to put a little bit there, and now I'm going to flatten it. So I've got this little piece here that allows me to spread that thermal grease and make a thin layer, and any excess, any leftover thermal grease I'll basically throw away. Obviously, you don't want to put too much. You want to have a very, very thin layer, just enough to make contact between the base of the CPU cooler and the top of your CPU right there. So once I've spread the surface with a thin layer, the excess, I just throw it away, and now we're good to go to proceed with the CPU cooler installation. Now, again, depends on the CPU cooler that you have. You have to do different things. In this case, with the CPU cooler that I have here, the Silent Shark, I've gone ahead and installed that, nice and snug, tight. This one is going to run really nice in this case, fits very well. I've gone ahead, also installed the screws for the motherboard, obviously, and you have to look at the legend that comes on the case. Tells you exactly which screws for which type of motherboard. So if you have an ATX motherboard, it tells you which holes you need to put these motherboard standoffs, so that way you can attach it. And I've got this little gadget here that allows me to quickly tighten these standoffs pretty nicely, ready to go. There you can see the additional fan. Everything is out of the way, and I can just slide the motherboard right in with the CPU cooler and, of course, attach the screws on top of the motherboard. Now, in part 2, I'm going to go ahead now and do a secondary step, which is the cable management and installing the rest of the components. So stay tuned for part 2. We're going to review that. And again, comment below, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.